Good morning, Dreamhouse Nation. James Lewis of TDH. Joining us today is Beth Herbruck. She is from the band MAMADRAMA. Beth, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
So what is MAMADRAMA?
MAMADRAMA is a New Jersey-based all mom-fronted band. There are 5 of us that are out there kind of spreading the kick-ass belief that it's never too late to rock out and do what you really love. So we're a band that's writing originals and doing some great covers and just having a really great time performing in and around New Jersey.
That is awesome. Being from New Jersey, do you have a favorite band to cover?
Oh, good question. We kind of laid down the gauntlet in the very early stages and said our only rule is that we weren't going to cover female singers. That was kind of something that I am still pretty passionate about, just because I don't want to be compared to any of the other amazing women out there. So some of our favorite covers, right now, Breaking the Law by Judas Priest. We are huge Sabbath fans, so Paranoid and anything by Iggy and the Stooges. We kind of love that really classic rock, that good sound.
That is awesome. That is why we need to get you with DW Promotions. And next year, have you at the Incarcerated, have you at Sonic Temple, have you at Louder Than Life, because I think those fans would be fans of yours instantly.
We would bring it. We would bring it. I've got a dream right now where it's a cover that we do of Anything by Dramarama, and we just can't get out of our head that MAMADRAMA covering Dramarama would be the best fucking show.
That does sound awesome. So how did it all get started back in 2015?
We are, as I mentioned, we are all a bunch of moms and have full-time careers, and we were all sitting in and around outside Lake House Academy, which is down at Asbury Park, while some of our kids were having music lessons. And we still can't figure out if it was one of us or somebody that walked by that said, you ladies should really start a band. We were like, mom band? Absolutely. And we ran with it. We couldn't get it out of our heads. And so we started really getting together at Lake House. And ever since then, once a week, we really make time and prioritize to get together. So, I think it was kind of, we had a lot to prove. I think it was a joke that we wanted to prove could actually happen. And now we can't stop.
That is awesome. So what instrument do you play?
I'm lead vocalist. I started out playing some rhythm guitar with the band as well, but I like to say that I'm currently the rodeo clown.
Nice. So how did you learn to sing?
Just from the beginning, I think I'm naturally a performer. I'm not afraid of a microphone, and I've been singing my whole life in chorus and choirs and in a couple bands in high school as well, and played piano for 14, 15 years and taught myself guitar in high school. So, it's kind of been an ongoing obsession forever.
Nice. So who are some of your musical inspirations?
Past or present, I'm a big Yeah fan. If you're not familiar with Karen O, she's a goddess. And the Yeah have recently gotten back together. They're a band that was formed in New York, kind of right before and right after 9/11. And some of us recently saw them. So she just encapsulates creativity and just wild energy on stage. I think she is a front woman, was a really big influence. But as far as vocals go, I've forever been in love with Erykah Badu. I think she's a genius and just goddess of a vibe. And Erykah, Jill Scott, there's a really incredible vocalist. Her name is Napalm, and she fronts this New Zealand band called Hiatus Coyote. And I think I'm always looking for really strong women that are taking a lot of risks, be it with sound or creativity. And how are they getting that message across? So I think, and Alison Mosshart at the Kills. I mean, she's just a badass. I think she is an artist. She's a huge inspiration.
Now, of course, I'm going to say the name wrong, so when you Google it, you won't be able to find it, but I'm going to attempt it anyway. One that you should definitely check out is Diamond Rowe from Tent Trek.
Absolutely. All right. Taking notes.
She is phenomenal. She's not the lead singer. She does do some singing, but she's the main guitarist and is just phenomenal. We had her on the show a while back, and we're very impressed.
I love it. And where are they out of?
They're out of Georgia.
Oh, right on. I'm actually from Atlanta, so I will stalk them officially.
Nice.
I love it.
Heck yeah.
I love it.
So tell us about that first single.
Oh, MILF. I think, we as a band, it goes back to the first kind of joke and challenge, right? Like, oh, you guys should start a band. And I think having maybe a little chip on our shoulders and maybe having a lot to prove. One of the first songs that we wrote was absolutely tongue-in-cheek, and it does not stand for what everyone thinks it does. It's actually Moms in Leather Forever, and it became just this kind of cheeky rally cry for us. It was our first original. It was our first single that we ever recorded. So it kind of, at the time really summed up who we were and what we had to say and what we had to prove. And now we just think it is the most hilarious and most fun song to perform. So we end every show with it. And there's always, jaws dropped in the audience when they figure out what we're really saying. And at the end, everyone is, chanting along and jumping up and down with us. So yeah, that's MILF, Moms in Leather Forever.
Nice. And I understand the Moms in Leather Forever has become the theme song of a podcast.
It has. Yes. Momtourage. Yeah, they're fantastic. We really, we owe a lot to those two, the hosts, Ashley and Carey, for just being supporters and cheerleaders from the very beginning. So, we're honored that they wanted to include us on their podcast.
I can't believe I almost forgot to ask you about the other band members. Tell us about them.
Yeah, so I mentioned there's 5 of us, 5 ladies. Carey Balogh, she is lead guitar, and she also owns an incredible agency called Brand Groupies. And on keys, we have Kim, and Kim was actually she teaches kindergarten full time and was recently awarded Teacher of the Year for Monmouth County in New Jersey, which is a really, really big honor. So Kim Grigoli is she's killing it on all fronts. And on bass, we have Renee Dorski, and on guitar as well, we have Lauren Riley. And Renee owns a cafe in town. She's a restaurant owner, and Lauren is a dermatologist. So, to say that we juggle a lot of hats is an understatement. All of us have, full-time careers, and between the 5 of us have 10 kids. So prioritizing getting together and making MAMADRAMA happen, I think has been a lifesaver for sure for all of us.
Definitely. So it sounds like it's been a passion project, something that you all are quite dedicated to.
Yes, for sure. I mean, we all realize that, we joke that everyone has the same 24 hours in the day, even Beyonce, and you make time for what is really important. You don't find time as a parent, as a mother that works. So to make the time every week for us to get together is, we think it's really special. We think it's something really unique, and yeah.
So tell us about why you're an easy target.
Easy Target. Easy Target is our second single that we recently recorded, and it was written a number of years ago. To get into the nitty gritty, it was about a particular politician who was exposed admitting to treating women in the most disrespectful way, actually bragging about it. And it just was shameful. And the country and the media, just went wild with this story. And then
we ended up electing him president, kind of.
Nothing happened except he was given. Yeah. So I think it's somewhat transparent. Who inspired the lyrics, at least the feeling behind that song. So that was something that just, I think it lyrics, flowed out in minutes, and is kind of, taken on a different life. Just shouldn't say different life, but it's kind of, picked up the same feelings and sentiment, and around a number of different issues that we are still, unfortunately, battling against and dealing with and reckoning with and trying to figure out what's next. So speaking of, rallying cry, this is, I think, one of the songs that we feel really, really passionate about right now. It feels really important, and for a number of things that are happening that, we just hope people are voting for. So yeah, that's the inspiration behind that one. Nice. That's the feeling and the sentiment behind each target. Yeah.
So tell us about how it feels to perform at the iconic venues of Asbury Park.
The best. The best. I think we all play the best. I would wager that a lot of, bands will say they probably play the best live just because the energy and the feedback from the crowd. But even just playing in some of our favorite dives they're iconic in Asbury, and knowing who's been on the stages over the years. One of our favorite is the Saint down in Asbury Park, and there's just, it is the best of the best dives, and the stage and this like red velvet curtain that they have. There's nothing like it. We love it. So yeah, and a newer space that we played in recently is the Transparent Gallery. It's actually it hosts the works of Danny Clinch, who is an amazing, incredible rock musician photographer, and we were invited to play there recently, and just being surrounded by images of some of the greatest musicians of all time was really special. So yeah, that was a highlight for all of us, for sure.
That is awesome. And then I understand you headlined the Asbury Fest. Tell us about that.
We did. This was our second time performing there, and the first time I think we got like the 10 a.m. slot, which is kind of hilarious for us because our look is a little kind of hot mess punk glam, and so to put that on at 10 a.m. in front of a coffee drinking crowd is is a lot. We're a lot. So this year we were the headliners and played the slot later at the end, and it was great. It's an amazing stage. Just being able to play outside anywhere in Asbury is it's an honor. We love playing together, playing live. There's nothing like that energy and that chance to perform.
That is awesome. So Beth, for our listeners that are wanting to learn more about MAMADRAMA, where on social media, where on the web, where can we find out more about you?
We are all over. On social, you can follow us at MAMADRAMA Band, and that's our website as well, mamadramaband.com.
That is awesome. It has been a pleasure having you on the show today.
Thank you so much, James.
Black Friday prices now available at Appliance Factory. Save up to 40 to 80% on thousands of in-stock appliances and mattresses. Largest inventory in Ohio, Appliance Factory gets exclusive factory buys from manufacturers at huge discounts, and they pass the savings on to you. Guaranteed to beat Lowe's and Home Depot's Black Friday sale prices. Save up to 40 to 80% on GE, Maytag, KitchenAid, Bosch, all the major brands. Mattress Kingdom inside Appliance Factory has inventory. They have all the best selections on Purple, Dream Cloud, Tempur-Pedic, Sealy, unbeatable savings. Black Friday prices now at Appliance Factory and Mattress Kingdom. Good morning, Dreamhouse Nation. James Lewis of TDH. Joining us today is the artist, Lilly Is That You? Lilly, thank you for joining us today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, we're excited about it. What was life like growing up in Canada?
I grew up downtown Toronto, so I feel like I grew up with this really busy life, but like busy with people and bikes and cars. Like I grew up downtown, and I feel like that's one thing that really influenced me. But it's also one of the most multicultural cities in the world, and I think that influenced me as well too. Just like growing up in a place that was so diverse, I think raised me with like a really strong perspective and understanding of the world and how it's so much bigger than just the city that you live in.
When did you first fall in love with music?
I feel like I don't remember the date exactly, but I think it really has felt like my whole life. I feel like I could say when I was 5, I could say when I was 7, I could say when I was 15. Like I think there's been so many times in my life that I've like fallen in love with music all over again. But it's been like a lifelong romance for sure.
Nice. So in other words, there's been a lot of high points. There's been a lot of inspirational moments.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So who are some of your musical influences?
Some of my first musical influences were Miley Cyrus and Avril Lavigne and early Katy Perry, but I also love jazz. Definitely some of my biggest influences are Billie Holiday and Etta James, Chet Baker, Ella Fitzgerald. Some of my recent, more modern influences would be Doja Cat, Toe Flo, Still Miley. Miley's still doing it for me.
Excellent. And then I understand as a teenager, you had trouble identifying with some of the pop stars.
I think I just had, I struggled with addiction. I felt like I wasn't seeing, pop artists being super open about experiences with addiction. And I think, I struggled with issues to do with sex, and I feel like I didn't see people being open enough about that. I think physically I identified with a lot of women, but I think in terms of what I was going through, I definitely needed more of like an honest voice and somebody who was more transparent and about what they were going through.
Tell us about your debut, the character.
My debut, the character, came out in July of this year. It was my first project ever. And the whole idea of the EP is to kind of move past aesthetics and move past being one kind of girl or one kind of moment or one kind of genre. I think we're really lucky to be in this era of artists having like so much creative expression to explore so many different genres and explore so many different aesthetics. And I definitely just want to remind my audience that they can try on a million different versions of themselves before they pick the one that they keep. Like I think it's just a project with an encouragement to like be yourself and embrace all the sides of you instead of just the one that's like the coolest.
So why does Purity have such a strong 80s feel?
I have no idea. I honestly don't know. I feel like that wasn't the reference on the day. I think so the producer was Joe Janiak, and maybe that's just kind of what inspired him, but it definitely wasn't like a reference in the room, but it's probably like the drum pattern and the 808s, and it's just feeling like this very like alive moment. I also think maybe that Be Aggressive chant is like reminiscent of like 80s high school football movies. I have no idea.
The other thing it has a very strong anti-slut shaming message. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, the whole idea of the song is that the concept of purity is outdated and women are worth more than the labels that we put on them. I think the whole idea of the song and definitely of my like career in general is just trying to remind women that they are entitled to their choices and nobody can take that away from them. And we give power, like if we give power to those words, like, slut, whore, whatever's in the song, then it becomes this derogatory thing. But if we take it back, then it gives the power back to us. So, yeah, definitely anti-slut shaming.
Nice. Why did FMRN set the internet on fire?
I think because it was so raw I think because I made it before I was really part of an industry, like the industry, or had like a lot of, I don't know, outside influences in my music. I think it was just something I made having so much fun, and it was just so authentic, and I think it really came through. And I think that's why. I think it felt real because it was real.
How are you able to tackle topics that other artists aren't able to, such as sex, addiction, and shame?
I definitely wouldn't say that like other artists aren't able to. Like, I think we're in an era where people are being more open than ever, but I definitely feel like it's at the core of my brand to speak up about issues such as sex addiction and shame. And I think I feel like I can because I have to. I think it would just be a waste of space and a waste of music and my talent to just make songs about heartbreak. Like, I have a unique experience based on what I've been through, and I think I want to shed light on that. And yeah, I think I just wouldn't really be able to live with myself if I didn't talk about addiction and didn't talk about sex and didn't talk about kind of the more difficult things that I've been through. Like, I think my pain is what gives me power as an artist, and I just want to encourage young women to be honest with themselves about what they're going through.
But it really feels like the main difference between you and the other artists is you're able to tackle those topics without being preachy or posturing. How are you able to do that?
I think just because I mean it, like nobody's telling me to say it or to speak up about it. I feel like it's all just coming from such a real place. Like, I'm still struggling with addiction. I'm still going through it. I'm still healing from a lot of the sexual trauma that I had in my life. And I think that it doesn't come off as preachy because, like, I'm not in a place where I can preach. Like, I'm not, on the other side of everything. I'm still only 22, and I think I'm still facing a lot of what I'm speaking about. And I think that that's why it comes off so strongly, is because I'm not, looking down on anybody for what they're going through, because I understand how hard it is. And it's not like this, artist on a pedestal saying, stop doing drugs is going to fix it. Because that's, like, I would have never listened to that when I was 16,
What makes Do I Make You Nervous a dynamic female first party anthem?
I don't know if it's a party anthem. What makes Do I Make You Nervous a dynamic female first party anthem? I mean, it's female first because I'm a bad bitch, don't want to need no man. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on here.
It's okay. We have a guy that edits it. It's all good.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's, I really wouldn't say it's a party anthem. I feel like it's definitely more like an after party moment, or definitely like a girls walking down the street or girls by themselves. Like, I think it's something that is for the girls when they're alone almost. Yeah, because it definitely comes from a dark place. So I feel like I didn't make it with this intention of like partying versus like, I don't know, Bad Energy or other songs of mine. I feel like it's more about that.
So why was FMRN taken off of TikTok?
Because I said the word fuck in it. And, the algorithm just flagged the video for adult nudity and sexual content. So that's why it was taken down, because it talked about sex and because I swore in it, and the algorithm flagged it. So that's why.
Okay, so it was just as simple as that. It wasn't like there was any conspiracy or anything against you.
No, I mean, definitely not. I think that there's no giant gatekeeper sitting at the top of TikTok making decisions about what videos should stay and what videos should go, I think. But I do think we need to have a greater conversation about how the algorithms are embedded with, I don't know, to take down like independent female artists that are talking about sex, when like there's so much other content on the platform that's like about guns or about violence that stays. And then when it's a small independent, at the time, artist, it got taken down. So I feel like that's like the bigger conversation. So it's not a conspiracy against me personally, but I think the algorithm itself is coded in a way that I think conspires against young female artist speaking about sex.
Why is being completely transparent so important to you as an artist?
Because I know that there are thousands of young women looking up to me, and I think that if they're going to compare themselves to me, I want it to be like the real version of me, you know? I feel like I looked up to so many people and thought they were so beautiful and wanted to be like them, and I would have felt the same if I knew what was really going on in their life or who they really were instead of just like this perfect picture. So I think just knowing that there's so many young women looking up to me, I just want them to see like what's real.
People have called you blunt, brazen, and bombastic. Is that fair?
I don't even know what bombastic means.
I think it's like overly outgoing.
Oh, sure. I mean, I'm blunt. I think that's a good thing to be. I don't know. I like who I am. I think it's got me this far, you know? It's got me on your show. So I think confidence is important if you want to be an artist, especially if you want to be like a pop star. I think you need to be able to be outgoing and be loud and get people's attention.
So it really feels like that unfilteredness that you bring is what makes you so relatable to your fans. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I would say so.
So tell us about your message of self-worth and self-love.
Gotta have it. I would say my message is that it's so vital. Like, you can't be a good person, a good daughter, a good sister, a good friend, a good colleague if you don't like respect yourself first. I think if you don't know how to love yourself, you don't know how to love other people, and if you don't know how to respect yourself, you don't know how to respect other people. And I think at the end of the day, like, you are all you have. You are the person that's gonna take care of you in the morning and at night, and when you're sick and when you're happy. Like, you are responsible for you, so you need to love this person that you're taking care of.
So I think this kind of continues that thought. What is the best way to find validation?
What is the best way to find validation? I think for me lately, I think the best way to give myself validation is to do things that take care of myself, like to go to sleep earlier or to read or like, you know, drink water or tea and take care of my body. Like, I think that those are the things that are giving me validation right now, is like proving to myself that I can take care of myself when I need to, that I can take care of myself when I need to put my work first and like make, you know, sacrifices for other things. Like, I think that that's what's been really validating to me right now. I think it's just like self-care. So,
where does your power come from?
Probably from being a badass woman. I don't know. I feel like my power comes from my music, from my voice. It's like this thing deep inside me. It's like where my power comes from. But I think it also comes from like how much I've been hurt and how much I've been through. And, you know, I think a lot of my power comes from how low I was before to like see how far I've come and where I'm at now. I think it's just makes me feel like a bad bitch who don't need no man, you know? So, nice. Yeah.
Back when I was in university, I went to NKU, and we had a college organization. I was a women's studies minor, and we had this women's organization, Women's Empowerment, and it was all about education, enlightenment, and empowerment. And we had a really great faculty sponsor, Mary York. And I feel that she would have been a huge fan of your music if she was still with us today. She was all about educating and empowering people. How does that feel to be able to do those things, to be able to educate, to be able to empower, to be able to enlighten people and to make them feel heard?
I mean, I'm really grateful. Yeah, I think I have such a privilege and an opportunity as an artist to make a difference in the way that when people think about themselves, and they really don't want to waste it. So it feels wonderful, but it also feels like, you know, I'm putting this pressure on myself to succeed so that I can, you know, inspire and enlighten like a greater mass of people. I think I just like want to take this message of like self-love and validation and confidence like as far as I can. And it feels great, but it also, you know, it's tiring because I think I give so much out in my music, especially like for example, right now I'm in Los Angeles and I'm recording every day. And I think like I put so much energy into the music. Sometimes it's hard on my body and on my brain.
Definitely. Well, Lilly, it has been a pleasure having you on the show, letting our listeners know more about you. Where can they find out more?
I am Lilly Is That You on everything, and it's Lily. Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
It has been our pleasure. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Appliance Factory in Mattress Kingdom has products in stock and available to take home today. With 5 stores and almost 40 years in business, they are Ohio's appliance experts, and they help you to get the right product at the right price with a huge inventory. You can save 30 to 60% every day on everything from Bosch and Viking to LG, GE, and KitchenAid at unbeatable savings and in stock. Plus, Mattress Kingdom inside Appliance Factory has everything from Tempur-Pedic and Sealy, Stearns & Foster, and Dream Cloud mattresses in stock. Stop by any one of Appliance Factory and Mattress Kingdom's 5 Ohio locations today or visit online at appliancefactory.com.
Good morning, Dreamhouse Nation. James Lewis of TDH joining us today from ShieldCoArt.com is Luke Markey. Luke, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, thank you so much, James. Happy to be here.
We are excited. We saw you on Facebook and said, hey, this is something our listeners need to know more about. So what is ShieldCoArt.com?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So ShieldCo Art is a premier design and fabrication company. We focus primarily on upscale business signage made of metal.
Nice. So how did it all get started?
So I'd spent a couple years in consulting with a company called Deloitte, and I was bummed out from the corporate travel every week, hate your life from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. lifestyle. And I'd read an article about the things people regret most on their deathbed, and one of them was not spending enough time with family. So I decided that I was going to move back home and help my dad grow his business. My dad is a blacksmith, super talented, and he has a plasma cam, which is a CNC machine, computer numerical control, and he really had never used it much, and I wanted to learn how to use it. So it was one of the first things that I did when I quit Deloitte was I figured out how to use this program. And I started making some just simple steel cutout signs out of scrap material. And one day I created a Baltimore Oriole logo out of 3 layers. And that's like our entire business now is everything is layered because it just gives depth and dimensionality to a product. And when you walk around it, you can just get a whole different type of feel for it versus something that's just flat. So I knew that I had something. And so I went to Colombia, South America and studied Spanish for a little bit. And when I returned, I told my dad all these great ideas I had to change his business. And he said, no, I don't want to change. And so my mind had already been on the idea of like custom fabrication for a while. And at that point, my brother, who was starting at his MBA at Columbia University, decided he'd partner with me in creating this business, ShieldCo, making layered metal art. And so we started making just sport memorabilia, but really for the first 2 years didn't gain much traction. But some of his professors had seen what we were making and asked us to make signs for their businesses. And so as the sales to businesses started to grow, we made the full transition and just started selling all custom metal artwork to businesses.
That is awesome. But that's not really how it got started. Tell us about the seamstress. Tell us about the blacksmith. Tell us about the other family members who put artistry in your blood.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a really fun part of the story because you head down in your life, and then when you look back, you go that these seeds were germinating in your body for a much longer time. So I have a great grandmother who has quilts that are featured in the Daughters of the American Revolution. Her work is particularly striking for the lack of imperfections and the symmetry. She was just fantastic at making these huge, 10 by 10 quilts. And I have this great uncle who is a renowned blacksmith, and as legend has it, he traded an ornate stove for an entire house. I can't imagine how beautiful that stove must have been. or how cold that person who was selling their house must have been. But then I have an uncle who is a graphic designer, and through the transition from handcrafted to digital, created many of the logos of businesses in Frederick. And then, of course, my mom and dad. My mom is a great craftsperson who can make something wonderful out of scraps. And my dad is an extremely talented blacksmith and sculptor. He created the gates to the Statue of Liberty out of solid bronze.
Now, when you say the Statue of Liberty, you don't mean the one in Vegas. You mean the real Statue of Liberty, correct?
That's right. I mean the one full size there in New York.
Wow, that is awesome. So
Thank you.
that answers where one of the places we can find your art. Where's some of the other places that we can find the art?
Well, one of the things that we had decided for our business when we started was we wanted to have a full reach, and we wanted to make something and pack and ship it. So one of the first signs that we sold was to a location in Arizona, and since then we've hit every single state. You could find a piece of our metal signage and artwork in the majority of major cities in the U.S. A lot of times they're on the interior, so you might not be able to walk around and see it, but they're there. We sell 400 to 500 custom metal signage pieces a year, and it's just always amazing, from South Dakota to Alaska to Florida and California to Hawaii pretty frequently. We make it, take an image of it, send it over to the client, they approve it, we pack it up in these bulletproof crates and then ship it off to them.
That is phenomenal. One of the ones that really impressed me was that Amsterdam Channel one, because like you mentioned, the 3D aspect of it. I mean, it looks like you could walk right into that city.
Yeah, I know. That was actually a professor of mine who'd asked me to create it for his wife, who was a professor in Amsterdam. So unfortunately, that one's not in Amsterdam, but we wanted to create this feeling of being there and looking down the canal and the perspective. It was a really neat project.
Awesome. What are the benefits of working with a family-owned and operated business?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just like the honesty, trust, and transparency, that that everybody is, working their hardest to do the best for the business. There's no backstabbing or just inconsistencies. The people that you're working with are genuine.
What is the best way for the Dream House Nation to order from you?
Yeah, absolutely. So the best way is to go to our website, shieldcoart.com, and there's a free quote form. You can submit your logo, some other information about your sign. It'll go to our super talented design and sales team. They'll start working on your design and then create a custom quote for you, and we can make 3-dimensional mock-ups as well. Or if that's too difficult, you can just shoot over an email to our sales QB, Julie, at shieldcoart.com, and she'll get you taken care of.
Nice. And then I understand there's a really cool sign made for Neil's alma mater.
Yeah, we made one for his ROTC, actually, which was he went to University of Maryland, and it's a 4-foot tall Maryland terrapin with their ROTC symbol in it. And at that time, we made that 8 years ago. It was the largest sign that we'd made, and this turtle was just bigger than life size, and it was really, really neat. That's in that time period too. We had a lot of our Testudo is their figure for Maryland, and we made a lot of these big terrapin signs, and they were hanging in the bookstore as well.
Oh, nice. So they had like a festival or something, and you were able to supply them with decorations.
That's right. Exactly.
Nice. Sounds awesome. Now, of course, we just experienced Veterans Day, and everyone is very appreciative of veterans. Why should our listeners purchase from a veteran-owned business?
Yeah. I think in a lot of ways, you just know that money spent on a veteran-owned business is benefiting America, because the profits are going to be spent here. They're going to stay here. And the people that you're working with are good, honest people.
Why do you use laser cuts for your arts?
Yeah. So when we started, we were using this plasma cutter, and I always equated it to like drawing with a fat tip Sharpie. You just can't get that great a detail. And now we use what's called a fiber laser that cuts down to the width. The width of the cut is 0.001 inches. So when our sales team and designers are creating something, they can just put as much detail into the design as they want, cost permitting, and the laser is just going to do an excellent job of cutting it out. We're doing one right now for West Point, and they have this super intricate eagle on the front of it, and the sign is actually pretty small, but in the eagle, all the wings are individually cut, and they're less than like 1/8 of an inch wide, and we have detail cut in each one of these individual wings. It's just incredible.
Nice. That is awesome. Now, what materials do you make the signs out of?
Yeah, so we can use any metal. Our laser just will cut metal. Some can cut wood and plastics, and we'll use those from time to time, but we mainly focus on metal, and particularly aluminum. And the reason for that is aluminum weighs 1/3 the weight of steel. So if we're making a 6-foot wide by 4-foot tall sign in multi-layers, it'll weigh 40 to 50 pounds. That can hang easily on drywall with drywall anchors. So it really is a weight, and then a weight consideration, but then it also has enough strength to withstand the elements as well. And then when we powder coat it, it is aluminum powder coated. It just lasts forever because aluminum doesn't rust like steel would.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to say I've heard great things about the powder coating. That we end up getting a sign for outside, and it's just great. It's in my mom's yard. It's a little I got it for her garden, and
Uh-huh.
the Dream House logo, and it was powder coated, and it made such a huge difference because there were other stuff that she has that have rusted over the years, but fortunately the powder coated one has been in great shape. So that is awesome that I hear that you do the powder coating.
Yeah, it's a neat process. So it's a spraying of an electrically charged powder. It's actually an epoxy resin to a grounded piece of material to your metal. And when you spray the powder over top of the metal, it just adheres to it. So when you're spraying wet paint, you have to hit every little nook and cranny. It's not going to pool in. And so a lot of times on a part that might look like it's painted well with wet paint, there are going to be little areas that there is no paint, and then those areas are going to be the ones that rust if it's made out of steel. And once rust is like a cancer, once it starts, it doesn't stop, and then the paint continues to chip off. So the powder just makes a great full coverage of the part.
You had mentioned your shipping crates. I think you might have even said bulletproof, which, wow, might be a little overdone. But tell us a little bit about those shipping crates.
Sure. That's when we started, and costs are always a consideration, but we just didn't have the setup to make wooden crates. We were just using cardboard boxes, and our signs, if it's a rectangular or a circular design that doesn't have a lot of detail in it, then a cardboard crate can work pretty well. But we have received, we shipped out a couple signs, and they would arrive damaged to the client. And after the clients waited, 4 to 6 weeks for their custom design, it's the worst thing that can happen is for it to arrive damaged. So I'd hired an old wood shop teacher, and he was like, we should make these out of wooden crates. He was like, I can make one in 15 minutes. And so that was the start of it. And plywood and 2x4s, we see the UPS drivers and how great they can be, but it's such a long chain from point A all the way to point B. It only takes one person who is having a bad day to roll it down a set of stairs. And, we have 99.9% shipping efficiency. For when we ship something, it arrives to you without any damage.
That is awesome. And then I understand the signs. The smaller ones are pretty easy to install. Obviously, the massive ones are going to be a bit of a challenge.
Yeah. So there's two main types of signs. One is where all of the individual parts of the sign are attached onto one backer piece. Those are super easy to install. We have what's on the back we call a French cleat, and it's just like a little upside down V It's really secure. We send you the other side of the V. You mount that up onto the wall, and then the sign just boom, hangs in, really sturdy, level, and is just as simple as can be. It take like less than 30 minutes to install a large sign with a French cleat. We make a lot of other kind of standard signs out of individual letters. You got to put a template on the wall and drill those out. But we always say if you can hang a mirror, then you can install one of our signs, no problem. And if you can install any or assemble anything from IKEA, then you're well overqualified to install one of our signs.
Nice. That is awesome. So tell us about the future of ShieldCo art.
And well, our goal, long term is that we'd have like 150 employees in a 50,000 square foot warehouse that we'd be manufacturing just tons of unique art and design. We've included my dad's business now in the ShieldCo Total LLC, and we want to make huge pieces of artwork. We're talking 50 feet tall, 10,000 pounds, and we want to be recognized as a premier designer and fabricator nationwide.
So before we let you go, Luke, where can our listeners find out more about ShieldCo art?
Website is shieldcoart.com, and I think it does a good representation of our business, but the social media, particularly on Instagram, is always showcasing the newest signs that we've created, and we're at ShieldCo Art on Instagram, and you can find us at ShieldCo Art as well on Facebook. Those are the two main ones that we're on. But yeah, love for your guys to reach out to us and get some 3D designs. That's a big part of the business is before we go to fabrication, we make fully rendered three-dimensional digital design so you can see exactly how your sign would look. And that's something that we include free of charge on every inquiry.
Sounds great. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That was a real pleasure.
Black Friday prices now available at Appliance Factory. Save up to 40 to 80% on thousands of in-stock appliances and mattresses. Largest inventory in Ohio, Appliance Factory gets exclusive factory buys from manufacturers at huge discounts, and they pass the savings on to you. Guaranteed to beat Lowe's and Home Depot's Black Friday sale prices. Save up to 40 to 80% on GE, Maytag, KitchenAid, Bosch, all the major brands. Mattress Kingdom inside Appliance Factory has inventory. They have all the best selections on Purple, Dream Cloud, Tempur-Pedic, Sealy, unbeatable savings. Black Friday prices now at Appliance Factory and Mattress Kingdom. Good morning, Dreamhouse Nation. James Lewis of TDH joining us from Toyish Lab, talking about Clixo is as if we are excited about having him on the show today. But before we get to him, we're going to give out our email address, dreamhousenation@gmail.com. That's dreamhousenation@gmail.com. And the reason why we do that is because we love giving out prizes. And they've been nice enough to give us some prizes to give out to our listeners. So we'll have them write in to dreamhousenation@gmail.com to win the prizes. Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about your company, Toyish Lab.
Yeah, I think Toyish Labs is basically a summary of a very interesting life journey and professional journey of mine. I was always curious about play and toys, and I've been working in the toy industry for about 20 years now, both inventing, designing, and teaching. After inventing for leading companies like Mattel and Spin Master and Hasbro and Ravensburger, and working with them, you get a good overview over the industry. And side by side to that, I was always teaching, so I get a good feel of what kids like and what is educational and what the market needs. So that led me after many years to work on my own company and create Toyish. Like in every journey, you get to learn a lot from your mistakes and from your past experience. And it took some time for the company to mature into what we're doing today, which is going to be mainly what we talk about, which is Clixo. So I think Clixo is really a summary of all the knowledge that I have and experienced and passions of mine within the toy industry. It's a great summary of a journey.
That is awesome. We saw Clixo on Facebook and we're extremely impressed. Tell our listeners about it.
So yeah, Clixo is a building toy, but it's a very unique building toy in this building toy landscape. You all know products like Lincoln Logs and Lego and building cubes and so on. I think Clixo is in this family. It's very, very unique because it combines the freedom and the open-ended play of paper and paper origami and paper folding with the ease of the classic building block like Lego. And when you put these two together, you get something really, really magical and open-ended.
That is
and that's
awesome.
what we're all about. If you know about Montessori approach and some, educational approach that I strongly believe in, kids, especially on a young age, they, you need to keep things open and for them to learn by themselves, and you need to give them just the right tools in order for them to express themselves. So that's what Clixo is all about. We're giving them a starting point. We're giving them something unique to create with, but they're essentially on the driver's seat, and they lead the way. Is that Clixo is very, very simple. At the end of the day, when you look at it, it looks like a simple toy, but it took over 3 years to develop. And when a kid looks at it, it gives them the feeling, hey, I can do that. They see the parts, they see what we did. It almost looks like paper. And you say to yourself, oh, I get it. I can do that. And that's exactly the feeling that we want to bring across to kids, that they essentially can be designers. They can be inventors. They can take ownership over their ideas and take them forward. So Clixo it's almost like a prototyping tool. It's a tool for aha moments. It taps into interesting places in creativity, and it's very unique because it serves almost like clay in your hands. You can always change it. You can always discover things as you build. It's very sensory and intuitive. So kids feel very safe in this environment that we've created.
That is an awesome message. So where is the best place for the Dreamhouse Nation to buy Clixo?
We're online in a bunch of places. We also have a toy store that is connected to our headquarters in Brooklyn, New York, in Clinton Hill, which I invite everybody to come and see because it's a very special experience, the store itself. And then online, you can buy it in our site on Clixo.com. We're also on Amazon. We're also in other websites online, and a lot of toy stores. So from the MoMA stores to Hobbytown to Meijer, you can find us in many stores across the United States.
So what is Clixo made of?
So it's made out of PET, which is plastic bottles are made out of. So we use a partially recycled PET. So it's also recyclable material, and we believe that the real kind of green toys comes from the ever green use of them. So we know, and we've seen Clixo being used in so many occasions and for so long. It's very versatile. When a kid keeps on playing with the toy, keeps on engaging with it, that's the best thing you can have as a toy designer.
One of the other things about toys that is very important nowadays is how do you keep them clean? How do you do that with Clixo?
Yeah, 100%. Keeping them clean, it's surprisingly easy with Clixo. So first of all, you can throw them in the dishwasher. Easy. They love dishwasher. They'll come out clean. You can wipe them with any wiper, with either with alcohol gel or just regular wipers. And they're generally keeping pretty clean. I mean, I can see it in our toy store as well, where kids are playing with the toys. We see them after the kids use them, and they're pretty clean, and we don't have to clean them that often. So we have like a procedure where we clean them, after this amount of time. But generally, they're very easy to clean.
Nice. And then I understand you've won several awards. Tell us about some of those awards.
Yeah, we're super excited as a team. We keep on accumulating awards, which is always nice, and it's a real reward for all the hard work we're doing here. So first, one of the most important awards is the TOTY. We were finalists for the TOTY as the Best Creative Toy for 2021, which is a big deal. It's kind of like the Oscar of the toy industry. So it's the Toy of the Year award, or short goes for TOTY. We also won the Tiddlywink, the Creative Child Award, the Good Housekeeping Award, among others. So it's exciting to see more and more awards coming, and it's definitely something that is important for us. It's also important that we are STEM approved, and as we go into schools and we're expanding Clixo into schools, it's very important to get the message across that Clixo is amazing for STEM education, and that is something we strongly believe in.
That is amazing. I love how the Clixo is wearable, portable, and easy to store. Tell us a little bit about those three things.
Yeah, it's a super versatile toy. It's really perfect for travel. It's fun to stack and pack light. You can take it with you practically anywhere. You can put it in your bag, your suitcase, take it on a car ride, RV, a plane. It's so easy to carry around because it's so light. It kind of packs together with a magnet. So it's, easy for parents as much as it's fun for the kids. And that's what we're all about. We need to satisfy both with this creation. So I think it's a great addition for the parents.
Nice. I know a lot of the members of the Dreamhouse Nation want to take the Clixo challenge. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so Clixo is what's unique about it is that it's we're not huge believers in over-structured play. So it's very, very intuitive. We have tips and tricks, what we call them, and challenges to build with Clixo, which we show all kinds of tricks that you can then take and do your own interpretation on top of them, and build your own creations. So if you go to clixo.com/challenges, you'll see many creations, and you can go step by step and build them and follow some of our team that inspire kids how to build really cool stuff. We're also in the process of adding teacher guides to also show teachers how they can teach with Clixo in the classroom and learn math with Clixo and learn language with Clixo and other exciting things. This is coming up soon.
That is so awesome. We love companies like yours that are family owned and operated, companies that really care about the kids, and companies that, are creating educational products that expand kids' minds. So before we let you go, where on social media, where on the web, where can our listeners find out more about Clixo?
So first of all, it's Clixo.com, and if you go to the About section, Clixo.com, I invite you to read a little bit about us and what we're doing, and there's beautiful videos that show our a little bit behind the scenes and our store and so on. That's the first place to learn about us. Beyond that, I think the media keeps covering us in different segments and different magazines, and I'm sure you'll hear the name more and more. And of course, the social media channels like TikTok or my underlined Clixo on Instagram and on Facebook. We're definitely there, and there's links to all our social handles from the website itself. So hopefully everyone will hear about Clixo very soon.
That is awesome. It has been a pleasure having you on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
That wraps it up for this week's show. Hope you can join us again next week for This Dream House. This has been James Lewis. Enjoy your weekend.